Alright guys, here we go with the 87 gsxr Skull Bandit build. I just want to do a walk around for you guys real quick, man. I haven't showed this bike off yet. You've seen plenty of pictures, but I haven't talked about it, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about it today. Basically, it's one of the bikes that I've had for years. I built it a couple times in a couple different ways, and I kind of sat in the corner and got pushed off to the side, so ended up doing something with it. So that's what I did with it. I turned it into a Skull Bandit rep. I'll tell you guys about it. It's got an 88 gsxr front end on it. It's got the late model 3-spoke wheels on it. It's 750. It's got a 1052 gsxr motor in it. It's got 38mm Mikuni flat side carbs on it. It's got a rear Penske shock on it. It's got a 4-in-1 handle exhaust on it with a carbon fiber can. Everything on this bike's been redone. It's got new bearings from the wheels all the way to the swing arm, to the headstock. All that stuff's brand new on it. It's got 3-ohm dyno coils on it. It's got a new fuel petcock on it. Paint's from Sharon Williams. That's the paint brand I use. It's got an aftermarket rear limited seat tail on it with a limited seat and a limited exhaust bracket. Yep. And also, you're redoing these bikes. You only got 2 wheels to ride on, so you try to be safe and go in and replace things that need to be replaced. And one of your most critical deals are your brakes. So the brakes came all apart on this bike, and took them all apart, put all new seals in them, new pistons inside the brakes, and put them all back together with new fluid. Like I said, it's got brand new wheel bearings all the way through on the bike, brand new tires. Fork's been gone through. Ruby over at QuickTime Motorsports took care of that for me. So this bike took a little bit of time to get together, just because of trying to get the parts for it. Probably 10 years ago you could have did this bike and got the parts kind of easy for it, but now these bikes are getting a little bit harder to do. Parts are getting a little bit harder to find, and they're getting a little more expensive. I'd say Suzuki's are probably, depending on how you're going to build it, can be a little bit cheaper than some of your Kawasaki's, but not necessarily some. All this stuff that were 80 bikes or 80 sport bikes, the parts are getting really, really hard to find for them and getting expensive again, like I said. So just kind of give you an idea of a rundown on this bike and price cost, just to kind of give you, I'm not trying to brag about it, but just to let people know what it costs to even build one of these bikes. And I don't want to say on the cheap end, because there's nothing cheap about it, but let's take, for instance, the exhaust system on this bike. You can buy used exhaust. There's guys out there that restore them and stuff. I just figured I wanted to put a brand new exhaust on here. So your exhaust on this brand is Hendo brand with the carbon fiber canister on the end right here. This exhaust system was $1,200 out the door, shipped from Canada down here to the US. That's what it cost. You got the limited exhaust bracket right here, which is not really too much. Being that came off a limited edition bike, they didn't make very few of the 86 gsxrs unlimited. That's right about $500. You look at the tail section on the back, which is a replica. It's a fiberglass replica of a limited motorcycle. I think I paid something like $300 for it, right? Which isn't bad. A guy had it, as he was going to put on his bike, decided he wasn't going to use it. He ended up selling it. This part right here probably was the biggest cost, believe it or not, is a seat. And that seat is a real limited seat. Eventually I paid $700 for the seat, and then I went and had the seat recovered. And that was about another $500 just for that seat, which is crazy. I know. Carburetors, you're about $1,000 for the Makunis, flat sides. Nice carburetors, nice racing carburetors. Reason why I just get tired of dealing with stock carburetors, because most of the time with the stock stuff, it's wore out. Most of the stuff you find, it needs a lot of work done to it. I don't have time for that. Just go buy you a new set of brand new carbs and be done with it. The Penske shock on the back, $1,000. Then you come around to the front. It's got an '88 gsxr front end on it, which is forks. You can find those for probably about $300 or $400, depending on what you got. Come around to the fork brace on the front of the bike, right down here. You're about $100. Then you come down to the side here, and you've got your chain guard, which is probably about another $100. Fuel petcock, $100. Then the coils, every bit of $200, almost $300. Then you get into your stainless steel braided lines, stuff like this is for the clutch. You can get the line probably for about $70. Then you do your stainless steel front brakes. You get those in a pair, they're about $100. And that's just like the parts you need just to have the bike just to run. Then you get into your tires. So you get your tires set up, and your tires are probably right around $400. Actually, a little more than that, probably more like $500 for the tires on the motorcycle. And then you look into the paint on the bike. Now, this paint job on this bike, it wasn't cheap neither. I'm going to tell you, I probably got about $1,000 worth of paint on the bike. It's General Motors Diamond White. And then I've got the greens on the different greens. And then you go to all the stickers and decals, and that's the really thing that costs a lot of money. A lot of people don't think. I had to add the Skoal Bandit made custom, the Manali on the very bottom made custom, and then the Shell Oil, and the Huron Suzuki, and then also the Skoal Bandit guys. And when you sit down and look at all those decals right there, you're probably about $500, $600 in decals right there, and then everything else that I got put on a bike included. So, by the time you sit down here and add all this stuff up, and then you buy the fairings and everything you need, you're in the thousands of dollars of just doing one of these bikes. And I tell people all the time, you say, well, man, why would you put that much money in an older bike? For me, I like them. I like the older bikes. This is the stuff as a kid, of course, I couldn't afford, but also too, my mom and dad would not buy for me. Not necessarily my dad, but my mom was against motorcycles, so I can tell you that right now. But they were expensive, so the guys that had these bikes back then, they probably had a little money, and stuff and everything. But I didn't have it. My mom wasn't having it, so I'm in my 50s now, so I'm able to afford to get these bikes and get them and fix them up, So that's the story of the Skoal Bandit. Just kind of let you guys know what it costs to do one of these bikes. And it gets expensive, but just kind of let you guys know. You can kind of see it, what it is. Skoal Bandit, 87 Suzuki gsxr, 750, 711. Talk to you guys later.